Hi everyone, and welcome to this video, which is going to be on some principles of business wisdom that have been shared by nature. I wanted to start by talking about where we're at with business, because our entire business model has been established based on exploitation, principally of the environment in terms of natural resources, but also very much so in terms of people and how they are used within the business dynamic. Now, that's obviously not true across the board, but it is true of the predominant model that we have, because it is based on economic growth, GDP, return on investment. And that has created a dynamic in business, which means that we are constantly seeking to exploit. And that has created some huge issues for us in terms of the environment and our communities. And within that, we are now seeing this rise of, we have these problems, and it's the next big market that is opening up, basically, that people want to engineer our way out of the problems that we have created. Now, we always look to technology, to science, to knowledge to solve those problems. But the one thing that we don't ever do is listen to nature. And we're beginning to see, where we are listening to nature, or we're observing, we're beginning to see how nature has all of the answers that we need. It is capable of reversing some of the damage that we've done and restoring some balance and some harmony in our environment and our communities. But we aren't going to access that unless we stop and listen to it. We need to shift into a space of listening to nature rather than assuming that we are superior to it or know more than it, because we simply don't. There is so much that goes on in nature that we are incapable of seeing at the scale that it's happening, the connections and the links. We barely scratching the surface of what is going on in the natural environment, and therefore we are very much in need of nature's wisdom in order to take our businesses into the next dynamic that it needs to move into, where it is working in harmony with nature. So this video is 7 principles of wisdom for your business that have been shared by nature. And I'm going to sort of move through those 7 areas. So the first aspect of wisdom is collaboration. Now, we are set up in a current business dynamic around competition, but nothing is in competition in the natural world. There is a natural harmony, or might not always appear to be the case, but there is a natural dynamic at play where there is balance. And that is the natural order. So we can create a collaborative process within our businesses, because we can choose to engage with life, we can choose to work with life, and we can choose to allow the whole to be healthy so that we can shine ourselves because the whole shines, rather than shining because everything else is under-resourced and malnourished. And that's the business dynamic we've been in. It's like the competition is important, and it's top dog scenario, which we don't, that is not the way forward. So collaboration is a key principle of business moving forward. The second is rhythm. And we've created this dynamic which is always on the go. It's always growing, always on the go, always needing to be productive. And that has honestly created huge problems for entrepreneurs who feel under so much pressure to always be productive. And in corporate situations, in office situations, people feel under pressure to be at the peak of their productivity. And we have seen, we have some models which are, so focused on productivity that they are destroying the people who are meant to be able to deliver that productivity. So we have got some real problems there. And one of the messages here about rhythm is that life isn't always about going. Sometimes it's about stopping, because stopping is part of life. There is always a pause between the next piece of action. And that's an important principle to build into our businesses, so that we have this natural rhythm where we are creating, and then we are relaxing, and we're in a space of peace, quiet, stillness, where we can group ourselves back together again before the next spurt of action. And that's a natural way of being, which is actually quite hard to train ourselves into. That was the second piece of wisdom. The third piece of wisdom is that everything is shaped from within. Yes, our external environment has a huge impact on how we experience life, but actually the biggest impact by far comes from what's coming within. If we are connected to who we are and what we are here to do in the world, then and how we want to engage with life, then we are shaped from within. So our experience of our outer reality is shaped very much by what's going on inside. That's the principle that we can apply to our businesses by really leaning into the values that it has and how you want to live those values through your business. The fourth piece of wisdom is to be yourself. There is an important thing to understand that has been schooled out of us, and that is that by being true to ourselves, we bring something unique into the world that brings harmony to it. Everybody has this unique and important role to play simply by being themselves and being present. And that harmonizes. It's an important energy that's needed in the world in order to create harmony, to create balance, to create a nourished experience for all life. So it's really important to be yourself, so to really connect into who you are. And that is very important in business, because a business needs to be rooted and anchored in that reason for being, and that comes from you. The next piece of wisdom is health is wealth. Every aspect of you is a key part of your overall health. So that is physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, energetically. All of these layers of you are critical and important in order for you to find your health, and that health is your wealth. So in business, it becomes not just about the bottom line. It becomes about how your business is contributing and how it is shaping the future and contributing to its overall health. The next piece is balance. And that balance isn't what we think it is. We always think of balance as being equal, as this sort of absolutely flat and level, but it's not. Balance is dynamic. There are constant changes. It's about how the whole is functioning as a whole, and with the rise and fall of the individual pieces. So if you think about spring is a riot of new growth, and every day looks different, but it's all in harmony. It's all in balance. And that's something that we need to think about in business, is that we don't always have to be homogenous. It doesn't have to be always on the same level. Our performance can go up and down, and it's fine, because it's about the overall health. And that's something that we can really look at in terms of how do we define the health of a business. And that's something I talk about a lot, is business health, and thinking about business health in a much broader way. And it is about how well resourced it is, how healthy it is to respond to change, how agile it is, and how rooted it is in its central values and reason for being. And that's really important to be able to create this dynamic balance process within business, and allow you to move away from the always on the up trajectory, and accept that there's a natural modulation that happens. And the final piece of wisdom is be. Just be. There is so much merit to taking time to just connect with who you are, and taking time to just experience life without an agenda, without any pressure to be somewhere else, do something else. All of these things get in the way of our experience of life, and finding that central point of balance within ourselves that allow us to move from a different place and engage in a different place. And you can find that simply by allowing yourself even a few minutes where you are completely disconnected from any pressures, and cultivating some spaces where you can do that. And in business, that is going to mean that you have access to a level of wisdom that comes from within, and will come from nature as well, that is going to guide you in a different way and encourage you and support you to find your own path and your own solutions, which are going to be the thing that allows your business to really thrive. So those are the 7 pieces of wisdom. And I would invite you to perhaps move out and find your own wisdom by simply stepping outside and connecting with what nature you can, and whether that's just looking up at the sky and connecting with that, or whatever ground, earth you can feel beneath your feet, or any plants. However you can make that happen, then I would suggest that you step outside and engage with nature and ask a question about what your next steps will be. And I think you will be amazed by what happens next. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you again very soon.